What is going on, guys? This is the bogey-free podcast for the Northern Trust. I am your host, Evan Cheney, today joined by my lovely co-host, Matt and Jimmy. Matt, there is a bug flying around in your little basement there.
I don't want to talk about it.
I hope it doesn't kill you.
This has been 2 weeks. This has been 2 weeks now where this has been going on. And I'm not happy about it, to say the least.
I was talking and it was just flying around like, I don't know.
It's a goddamn
Other than
nightmare.
that, though, how are you?
Oh, I'm just living in the lap of luxury right now. Just waiting for the baby to get here. Just, all going for walks, going to doctor's appointments, just the whole 9 yards. It's just a barrel of monkeys every day here at the Jones house.
The level of sarcasm that just
I am very excited. I feel woefully underprepared for tonight.
Thought you were gonna say for fatherhood.
I think that would assume both.
I mean, I guess we'll find out, right? I think that you can learn on the go a little bit. With this, we're just gonna have to hope that my firing on all cylinders tonight. But since that rarely happens, I don't know. Good luck.
No, we're going to do it, man. We're going to do it.
Well, thank God you're here, Jimmy, because I don't know. I don't know what I would do without you right now. I was just watching your course breakdown, so hopefully I have somewhat of an idea of what I'm talking about.
Oh, fantastic.
All right. No problem. Well, without further ado, let's get into this thing. Jimmy, I'll throw it to you first. What stats are you looking at for this course and what you're using to build a player pool this week?
Yeah, I guess definitely check out my video on Ridgewood Country Club over at fansharesports.com. I go pretty in depth. Ridgewood is a course we haven't seen since 2014. It is a par 71 A.W. Tillinghast design, very traditional, very classic, lots of mature tree lines, some tricky little dog legs, very dynamic in the length of the holes that the players are going to experience throughout their round. Ridgewood is originally or normally a 27-hole 3-9 setup. In order to achieve the championship course layout, they sort of take like the best holes from each of the 3-9s, and they like sort of like hodgepodge together this 18 that the players are going to have to deal with this week. And I suspect it's going to be a fairly difficult golf course. It has been the previous two editions. Lots of there's not really like an area for me to focus on like there is in a lot of courses in terms of like a length of hole that the guys really have to succeed on or etc. Like all the par fives are sort of on the longer end, and none of them are really like eagleable. Most of them are going to play as 3-shot holes. The long par fours are just really difficult. The mid-length par fours are very gettable for the guys that are scoring. And then there's some like very short inviting par fours as well, like a sub 400-yard par four, sub 300-yard par four, that these guys are going to have, the ability for some easy birdies. So I think the course is a great mix, and it's going to be a good test for the guys this week. And as far as like stats to be looking for, I'm not really going to get like too into the stats, to be honest, this week. I'm going to look for guys that are currently gaining strokes on approach, and good POA putters, and that's it. Like those are like the two things that I'm going to base my decision making around this week, because first of all, we're talking about the FedEx Cup here, so we have the top 125 guys. There's actually like 5 missing this week, I think, but yeah, I guess I'm just not going to try and identify too many stats to like lean on here at a golf course that doesn't really seem to favor any particular style of play. When you look at the last two editions here at this golf course, you have Matt Kuchar and Hunter Mahan, hoisting the trophies. Neither one of those guys like scream elite distance or anything like that. So you have just sort of a ho-hum regular type of PGA golfer that found success here. And when you look at the remainder of the leaderboards, there's only a couple of bombers mixed in there. So it leads me to believe that the guys are definitely going to favor fairway placement off of the tees here, as the rough is penal, it is thick, it is long, just sort of what you expect at this part of the country. But I really think that the guys are going to have a lot of choices to make off of the tees this week, and the ones that play within the course are going to find themselves with the most opportunities, and that's who's going to rise to the top this week.
Yeah. Matt, you have anything to add to that?
No, that's pretty much where I'm at right now. I was, excuse me, I was looking through to sort of see, like, parse out if there was any real driving distance, accuracy advantage, and it's just a complete mixed bag. So I'm just really focusing in on ball striking and hoping for the best this week.
Yeah, one of the things I'm looking at too is fairways. I think this course really does benefit guys. Like, I mean, that's pretty much any course really, but I don't know. There's a big stress I'm seeing about fairways.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can't attack. These greens are kind of small. At least in like the playable areas of the greens. Stuart Sink's actually noted, I believe I read this on Future of Fantasy, Josh Culp's site. I think Sink was quoted as saying that all the greens seem to have like a vein that runs through them and like separates them into two very distinct quadrants. And the greens are on the smaller side here at Ridgewood. So, just even being on the wrong side of that ridge can, just put you in a bit of trouble. And the problem is that if you're not in the fairway here, you really are going to have a tough time holding any of these greens, I think. Just because they're on the smaller side. They did add 15,000 square feet to the greens in 2015. So none of the guys have seen the bigger greens here. But again, I don't think they're made them like so big that, you don't have to worry about it. Guys are still going to have to be putting them in the right spots. And the only way to do that on this golf course is to find the fairway.
Yeah. And I mean, you referenced I think it's like, on the scorecard, it's like 290 or 291, something like that, the par 4. Yeah. And it's like 9 steps across or something ridiculous. Like, it's just, it's very interesting. If you get the chance, like, go on, like, I usually just plug it into like 18 birdies and kind of look through that freaking fly. I'm going to go crazy today. I'm going to fucking lose it today.
You need to watch The Karate Kid and study the chopstick movements of the Miyagi.
Oh my God. I'm gonna lose it.
We need to get you some chi flowing, something. I don't know.
See, here's the problem with Karate Kid. Like, the original film was great, but the only thing us millennials ever really know is Jaden Smith, Karate Kid.
Or you could just go back and watch the original.
Yeah, what I was saying though is, like, us millennials, like, we're exposed to this crap.
True. All these remakes that are just ruining old things.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. But the original movie was great. I've seen it. It's a great film.
Miyagi.
There you go.
All right. I'm not distracted at all by this fly. This is going to be
not one bit. Or maybe the fly has golf thoughts. Maybe it's trying to give us the nuts.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, anyway, let's see if we can figure them out.
Yeah, really. So we'll dive into this player pool here. We'll get to our 10K and up guys first. 5 guys on the list. Matt, I will throw it to you first. Who you liking?
I mean, it's another one of these things where I really don't think that you can go terribly wrong with any of the 5 guys up here. Obviously, I'm going to be playing a heavy dose of Justin Thomas. I wouldn't really, I don't know, maybe I'm sort of trying to get too cute with this, but I wouldn't necessarily think that fading DJ is a bad thing.
I think I know what you kind of mean, but
yeah, I mean, just from like I don't know, I'm having a hard time with that decision mostly. I don't really fully know where ownership is going to go. I'm going to assume that it's going to be, I mean, Jimmie, maybe you could chime in here too. I'm assuming that it's going to be reasonably flat up at the top here. I don't think one guy is really going to get a crazy jump in ownership. Are you thinking that too, or do you think that's off base?
No, I think you're right. I think anybody from like $9,000 and above is probably going to find themselves between the like 12 to 17% range. Yeah. Like I don't see anybody getting appreciably under-owned or over-owned, at least at this point in the week. We are recording a day later, so the ownerships have solidified a little more than normal. But I don't see guys like I guess I don't see any of the general public like piling all onto any 1 or 2 guys in this range. I think anybody from like 9K, 9,400, like maybe Webb or Fleetwood up, everyone's going to be somewhere between 12 and like 18%. Yeah, is my guess. You'll get a couple of guys that'll, like, I'm sure that, I don't know, you might see like Day or Rose crack that 20% mark, but I don't think anybody else will.
And it also, I'm sure it also depends on the buy-in. Like at some point during you're going to see like a bunch of guys start to gravitate one way or the other, and like the 444 entry is going to be one of those guys is going to end up with like 40%, right? Like I feel like that usually is what happens.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm okay with the DJ fade this week. I'll probably play mostly Thomas. I'll have some exposure to Brooks and Tiger, and I don't know. You tell me your thoughts about Day. I need to hear it from you, because I'm still stuck in my former mentality about playing him right now, but maybe I'm wrong.
So Jason Day is like, there's a couple of things that lead me to Day. One, he's played well here before. This sort of sets up a little bit like the PGA to me. Like the PGA is an event that, regardless of where it's been held in the last 5 years, he has played really well at it. And this event or the FedEx Cup in general, this first swing seems to be the same way. Day is an exceptional putter. He's a pretty good POA putter. But we see like my biggest concern with Day is his off the tee and his approach games. But like when I think of Day off of the tee, where he doesn't have to hit driver, I think of the Players, and I think of where he just absolutely destroyed that golf course without ever using a driver, right? And I think that this is another course that sets up similar to that, where he has the ability around this golf course to take his driver out of play and keep himself dialed back, but still have an opportunity to score and be aggressive with his driving irons. At the same time, we've seen his approach game kind of improve just a little bit, which is nice, because he was really struggling with that, especially going into the U.S. Open, and really relying too heavily on his around the green game and his putting. This week, the greens are small. I do think they're going to be missed. I think his scrambling and his putting are going to come in clutch, and he's shown that he can do it at this golf course before. I'm on Day, and I don't see that changing. I'll take some heavy shares of him. I actually do like DJ quite a bit this week, and most of it revolves around the fact that he's the best POA putter of any of the elites, and it's not close, right? And this is a weird one to lean on, but putting on POA is just so different, right? It is like the way the guys talk about it, the way it changes throughout the day, and it's bumpy, and it's just Dustin putts well on POA. There's a couple other guys in the field that putt really well on POA that I'm going to be favoring this week. But I'm definitely going to add a bump to POA putters. Because again, I don't think that this golf course is going to be set up to where any of these guys can't have success on it, right? You just have to show up and hit your shots, right? Which sounds like incredibly simple, but like there's nothing tricky about this golf course, right? So all you have to do is just hit your shot, and DJ can do that. DJ can take any sort of approach he wants to this course. He's in form, just sort of disappointing results for the last major. I don't know, man. I think if DJ goes like less than 20% owned, I think that maybe he should probably be like 20% owned. We could see him go a little bit under that, but I don't know. I guess I'm just going to favor the POA putting and use that as like my tiebreaker. Because again, like you said it earlier, I don't think you can go really wrong with any of these elites up here. So if you have to find a way to differentiate or to pick one or the other, that's what I'm going to use as my tiebreaker.
Yeah, I mean, and just on the JT on the pro column, I guess for JT, it's his best surface as well. POA.
Yeah, he's putted much better on POA this year than he has in his previous 2 years. For sure. So he absolutely could be figuring out the POA, and it just it's not showing up in the longer term stats that I'm looking at. I may have to give another glance to his more recent POA performance.
And it looks like it's Koepka's worst.
It is.
So yeah. I don't ever really find myself playing a lot of Brooks just because I find it extraordinarily hard to root for him. So
this goes back to the what's his face? Who's the Grayson Murray? This goes back to that.
I don't think so, but okay.
No, it's like not playing a guy because you don't like him.
Oh yeah. Well, Yeah, different.
I mean,
think
the skill
No,
levels
I
are
don't.
obviously like.
I was gonna
not
say like
even-
I don't play Grayson because he's not good at golf.
His iron game is you're underrating his iron game.
Oh my God, Evan, stop.
All right, listen.
The hills I decided to die on.
I was gonna say you can die on that hill
Yeah.
all you want, but
Go ahead before it just becomes a clusterfuck.
That was
Yeah.
great. I saw your face changing as you were saying it, and you were like, maybe I should just stop.
yeah. So anyway, no, I feel you on Brooks, but I actually don't think I'm going to be going there. I do think that he'll probably end up being the guy that goes a little under-owned, despite his major win. I don't know if it's recency bias. People just think he can't back it up. I don't know. But I could see him going under-owned. The guy that like my big question mark is Tiger, and like I don't know because so here's the thing. I've been saying it all year that I think the less than driver, more technical courses where he can tone it down off of the tee, Tiger has the ability to compete. And like, this is absolutely that golf course.
Right.
The flip side of that is if he misses the fairway at all, it could be really bad.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but it is Tiger Woods. I think that people are going to be a bit gun shy at 10-1 because I do think he's a tad overpriced. I'll probably end up with a little bit of Tiger this week.
Maybe I'll just go all in on Tiger this week.
It's not. I don't think it's a dumb decision. I think that
It's not. He
yeah.
works out really well for this course.
Yeah, I mean his approach game right now is just out of this world.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know, man. If you didn't get the feels, bro, if you didn't get fired up at the PGA and just get all fuzzy and gooey inside on Sunday, man, I don't know what's wrong with you.
Yeah.
And this is just like it's hard not to get excited about Tiger kind of stalking his prey again, right? And that's I don't know, man.
My man's back to court. That girl that was sitting by the clubhouse on Sunday. Yeah.
Bro, did anybody see Brooks' girlfriend? Like,
yeah, that was great.
Yeah, you saw like her checking out Tiger. It's like,
man. Wait, that was Brooks' girlfriend.
Yeah.
Girlfriend, fiance, whatever. The one wearing that incredibly tacky outfit. That was a hideous outfit.
Wait, was it the blonde one or the brunette?
It looked like the one that got lost in a Hawaiian shirt factory.
I was talking about the one in the red dress. She was ready. She was ready to pounce on that. Anyway, I did have one more thought in this top range here. It's like you could pretty much fit anyone you want. Because like the value here is and it's just like the nature of the tournament, right? I mean, you're getting the top 125 guys in this field. So the guys that are all the way down at 68, low 7K, they're really good golfers, right? So stars and scrubs is not crazy. To get two of these high-end guys in your lineup and then, fit a Chris Kirk or something like that.
Yeah.
In the lineup too.
Do you think that's probably going to be the build that we see this week, right?
It has to, because if little old me is eyeballing it right now and seeing, I can build a lineup with Justin Rose and Justin Thomas, not Rose, and Dustin Johnson, and then being able to fit Kevin Na, Chris Kirk in there, and have some decent salary left. That's probably going to be the chalky build. I would imagine.
I would say that like your most lineups are going to trend towards star scrubs this week or somewhere like that. You'll see two guys from like 9,000 and above or 9,500 and up, and then two guys below, 7,100 probably per team. I'm not sure that it's the winning build, but I do think that it will be a popular build. What's interesting to me when I looked at the last two leaderboards, the stars and scrubs lineup approach did seem to be kind of what would have carried the day, just because we had Hunter Mahan and Matt Kuchar win. You had these kind of what in this field lower end, less expensive guys, and then you had a couple of elites mixed in around them, and then you had a bunch of nobodies, right? Mm-hmm. A bunch of guys from the bottom. So I do think that the leaderboards we saw the last two times around at this track suggest that a stars and scrubs approach is probably the plus EV approach. That said, as I've built some early lineups, I've really enjoyed the way some of the more balanced builds that I've done have turned out. as compared to some of the star scrub lineups that I've built. The other thing that's interesting to note, my optimals are normally I run a whole bunch of optimals based on several different factors, but usually it's very defined, like stars or scrubs or balanced. And this week what I have 6 different iterations that I've run so far this week, and they're exactly split 3 and 3, balanced versus stars and scrubs.
Yeah.
So I don't know which way I'm going to go yet, but just like my gut says that I'm favoring some of my more balanced builds, but the leaderboards the last 2 times out here at this track have sort of suggested stars and scrubs.
Yeah, and I mean, you can go like we'll get there obviously, but you can go with like my like pretty firm, like obvious brand plays this week, like the main 4 guys that I like sort of think of when I think of like who I really enjoy watching, and you could still have like 9K left for the last 2 spots. Like I'm gonna have a very hard time not just being like 100% on my guys this week. I'm gonna try not to, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, this is the Matt Jones brand week for sure.
Isn't every week the Matt Jones brand week?
I'm hoping, man. I don't know.
Not like this, man. This is this is where you're going to ship the GPP, Matt. This is the baby swag right here.
I've
already got some Matt Jones lineups.
You have your child and a nice little GPP win. It all works.
Yep. Get the bankroll up for NFL coming in. Like what? Come on. This could be a very nice week for the old Jones family.
That's right. I like it.
All right. So we will drop down to our 9K range. Quite a few names here. Matt, I will throw this to you first. Who are you liking?
I mean, model-wise and everything that I've been looking at, it's sort of been almost however you filter, like whether you want to go longer term or shorter term. I feel like Justin Rose just keeps sort of rising to the top of everything that I'm looking at. With that being said, he's, I would imagine, going to be one of the higher owned guys in general, at least above like the 9K range, like we were sort of talking about before. I kind of want to get back on the Rahm train a little bit.
There we go.
Like I've been a little lukewarm lately, and just like seeing him at the PGA and sort of like, not that he didn't throw like mini tantrums here and there, because like he's never gonna stop doing that, but like it seemed like he sort of had his wits about him a little bit more and was able to I mean, not that he really was like, he didn't like completely lose it. He was under 70, all 4 rounds. But just watching him there in that situation, I'm sort of thinking that he could kind of make a run here, just in general in the playoffs, but especially it seems like this could be a potentially a course that if he's a little bit on, that he could just sort of like just shit pump everybody. So
what in the world? What is shit pump?
Just like,
can you elaborate on that?
Just like
that?
Just demolish every. I don't know. Like just, I don't know. That's a thing. That's a thing.
Oh, man. I really just want to like archive that for something.
I don't know. I think that's a real thing. I don't know. Maybe I made that up. I think whatever. I like it anyway, and I think that this could be a Rahm week. I don't know. Again, like I can't really.
Good Lord, bless you.
Jesus.
I am just. It's not my year health wise. Everything else has been great, but
that's because you're under a bed right now.
That's part of my brand, just sitting under a bed and hoping it doesn't collapse.
A lot of dust bunnies under that bed there. You gotta get some Zyrtec pumping or something.
Dude, dust bunnies are the least of my problems down here. Go ahead.
So yeah, I think I'll probably I can fit my 4 guys and then play Rahm and Rose in the same lineup, which I think will probably end up being my cash line or somewhere about, somewhere in that range, maybe swap out a couple 1v1s or whatever. But that's sort of what I'm thinking right now. Jimmie, what do you think about Spieth? Do you think he turns it on and figures it out for the playoffs?
Okay. So first I'm going to backtrack.
That sounds like a no.
This is going to be the long form of a no.
No, it's not a no. I think a lot of things set up well for Spieth to kind of break his funk here. That said, I feel like maybe too many people are kind of thinking that, and I don't know if I want to be on chalky version of people trying to get ahead of a guy that's maybe not there yet.
Right.
That's just the interesting. In some of my models that I've run, he shows up really well. He putts well on Paula. He shouldn't have any trouble finding the fairways here. His strokes gained approach did turn back around. His putter has shown confidence for 4-5 events in a row now, or something like that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that are positive for Spieth. What's not positive in my book right now, and we can't see the stats from the Open, which is unfortunate because he gained 9.4 on the field. But he lost 8 strokes tee to green at the Bridgestone, but he picked up 2.6 with his putter, finishing 60th, which was disappointing to say the least. But the PGA, he showed back up that the only problem is he gained all of his strokes through putting, literally all of them.
Yeah.
Right. I'm just not sure that if he misses the fairway here, it'll be a really, really bad week and it'll end very early.
Yeah.
If he is not missing the fairways here, I think that we could see Spieth ride that hot putter to a top 15 and maybe into the weekend. Right. My interest increases the lower his projected ownership goes. If he projects to be as owned as the guys around him, I'll probably have no exposure. If he projects to go under owned from the guys around him by the end of the week, I will have some exposure. But I get the impression that more people, too many people are trying to time, Spieth, and they want to be ahead of it. And I get all that, and that's fine. But I don't want to, I guess I'm not as interested if, he's 14% owned or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to be that high. I mean, yeah.
I bet he could by the end of the week, dude. Because so here's the thing: we've not seen Spieth at $9,600 ever, right? So this is, I think, some really interesting lineup builds are stacking Rahm and Spieth this week. You're stacking 2 positive bent putters, both that have elite upside ability and both under $10,000, where you don't have to go all the way down to the popular lineup build, which is going to be, a DJ in somebody's stack or a day in somebody's stack, right?
Right.
And you're able to keep the other 4 of your golfers in a little bit higher price tier. I think that makes for an intriguing build, because I think that I'm on Rahm this week. I've already wrote him up. I'm not sure if my article's been published yet or not, but he's in my article, and I will have some exposure. Rahm is an exceptional POA putter, has won on a POA course before at Torrey, course that I find to be comparable to Ridgewood. So I think there's a lot of positives for Rahm this week, and really, we've said this before, and we do this all the time in terms of identifying dollars versus talent, and this is Dustin Johnson for $2,000 less, right? In terms of skill set and upside, right? So, and if you want to treat Day as the discount version, or Spieth as the discount version of Day, this is the way you stack Dustin and Day, right? In terms of skill set and ability,
right?
That's just sort of one of the things I've thought of, and as I built some lineups this week, if I want stars and scrubs, I might not go all the way up to the 10,000 range. I might just grab 2 of these top 9K guys, stick them in a lineup together, and just round out the bottom end.
Right.
But the Spieth thing's really polarizing. I've given it a lot of thought, and I haven't settled on it yet. But generally speaking, if he's over 10% owned, I probably will only have 1 lineup of him. If he comes in under or projects like he's not going to get the hype, then I'll go a little more. But right now, it looks to me, and what I'm just scrolling through Twitter seeing, that he's probably going to get a little more buzz than I want.
Yeah. You want to take a guess as to how many times he's been under $10,000 since the start of 2015?
Twice.
Once. That's pretty wild.
Good guess, though.
That's what I'm saying. Well, it's like,
that's nuts.
You buy low, right? Buy stocks low. I mean, we're seeing signs of Spieth's game, kind of turning around a little bit, and this is the bottom of his price. So there's a lot of reasons that you should heavily consider taking a stand on him this week.
Yeah.
With that said, I just there's also a lot of causes for concern, and the more popular he gets, the less interested I am.
Right. Makes sense. Who else are you liking in the 9K range there, Jimmie?
Really,
you gotta talk about Webb Simpson.
Webb is there. Well, you talk about Webb then if you're all fired up for the Webber.
I mean, I don't have any extreme hot takes ever, but I mean, he's a great putter, great par 4 player, great approach guy. He just fits the course. And he's not too bad on gaining fairways either, as everything I'm looking at. So, I mean, he does everything at least average that's good for this course. And that's what you need, right? If he at 9,200, what does he need to do? Right, that's the question.
Top 10, top 15.
And I think he could do that. I definitely think he could top 15. I'm very confident in his top 15 upside. Top 10? I don't know. I'll leave it up to you guys to figure that out.
He should be able to top 10. He's been playing really well this year.
Yeah.
I do like Webb.
And he's number 2 in the little blend in the mixed condition that I built. So, for what it's worth.
So here's the question for me with Webb. Do you want Webb or do you want Molinari? Because they're $300.
I want who's lower owned. Honestly,
I bet they're probably going to be the same.
That's a coin flip then.
Yeah, so that's sort of where I'm at with Webb is all things being equal. Do I want Molinari or do I want Webb? And I feel like I have a little more conviction about Molinari than I do Webb, but that's whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I'm not super high on Webb, but I don't hate the play either. I think that Webb is going to end up a little more chalky in this range, and I might.
Which makes sense make sense because there are a group of people that might be scared off by Molinari's putting issues.
Yeah, I just because I've grabbed the two guys I'm really focused on in the 9K range are, like I said, Rahm, and then I'm interested in Spieth as well. And then I kind of am dropping down out of the 9K range into the upper 8s for my builds so far. So I have grabbed a little bit of Fleetwood, who I don't know, this course seems like it should suit Fleetwood as well, and be gettable for a guy like him. I'm just not sure that. I don't know. He's such a hard guy to handicap for me. There's so much talent there, but he has those 1 or 2 rounds that just sort of take it out of, being around the company that he should for the price tag he is. But then he'll fire a 62 on Sunday, and
Right.
So I actually find Adam Scott and Hideki Matsuyama probably the next 2 guys that I'm gravitating to, just outside of the 9K range, so that I probably won't have too much exposure left in here. I think Brandt is interesting, obviously, just coming off the win, and could Billy Horschel, the FedEx Cup, right?
Yeah.
With his ability, and I think he even said it in his post-round interview or post-win interview that he's like, I'm a streaky golfer, and right now I'm playing some of the best golf of my life, and I'm going to carry this momentum right into the playoffs, and he's not wrong. And when a guy like that with a hot putter and Brandt feeling good, I could totally see him going on a multi-week run of some extremely good golf.
Right.
So that's intriguing, but my concern with Brandt is maybe missing a few too many fairways here, because he's not the most accurate driver, and he's going to need to hit driver to because he's not as long as some of these other guys. So that's a little bit of a concern for me, but I don't know, man. It's hard not to like a wire to wire winner going into going into the form type of season.
Yeah, I saw what he did Thursday. Oh my God. I almost shat myself in the middle of a chip and putt course.
That would have been interesting.
Couple of things. So for what it's worth, Webb is currently on a streak of 10 straight rounds in the 60s,
wow,
which is pretty impressive. I'm having sort of a hard time with Brandt. I feel like I feel like me and you being Jimmie, like we've sort of been waiting for this, and we probably were on him a little too early.
I definitely was.
Yeah, like we definitely were talking about him and hoping that it would have happened earlier. But to be totally honest, like this is who he can be in these spurts. Like there's no reason not to believe that he could back this up and, you know, at least be in the conversation on Sunday. And $9,000 is I think a reasonable price for him based on how he played last week. And your point on Fleetwood is like, he's one of my favorite golfers, but also one of the most frustrating golfers that I like enjoy, just because, like you said, like he can go, you know, he's probably the most likely or like top
to get a free meal in a soup kitchen. Oh no,
he's probably like what, top 3 to top 5 most likely to have a 61, but also to have probably like a 78.
Yeah, and this course doesn't set up as the type of course that you can shoot a 61 on, but it definitely sets up as the type of course that you can shoot a 78 on. Right. To me, right? And that's my concern for Fleetwood is like the variance there. And at $9,400, I'm not sure that you know, I don't know. I'm not sure that that's where I'm at, especially given the other guys that I like around him.
Yeah, so I think that's fair. All right. Well, you alluded to Scott and Decky, so why don't you usher us?
We'll lead into our 8K range here.
Yeah. So Scott's just really interesting. Now that he's gone back to the cheater putter, I haven't watched closely enough to see if he's anchoring, but I guess it's just so frustrating. Like, I don't know, man. There's like 2 guys on the whole tour doing it, right? Like you got Longer and him. And
yeah.
Like, I don't know.
And Hearn.
Oh, I didn't know Hearn was doing it. Is he? I mean, he gets so much TV time. So.
Oh yeah, no, he's all over the feature.
He gained 4 strokes putting at the PGA.
Yeah, so it's like nuts. He's always a great ball striker, right? And I could see Scott playing really well here, especially with the confidence of that putter. Now, I'm not going to go to I'm sure there's other great reasons to play Scott. Those are the reasons that I'll be playing some Scott this week. I also think that he might go a little overlooked with the guys above and below him, because I do think that Webb is going to get a lot of attention. And then, you know, obviously right below him, you've got Cantlay and Finau that are going to take up a chunk of ownership in this 8K range. Yeah, so I think that leaves the top of the 8K range open to maybe going slightly under owned for their talent. And I think when you look at the form of Scott and, you know, his sort of renewed confidence in his putter, and you're getting into like clutch times of years where like Scott doesn't play a whole lot anyway. He played more this year because he was sucking for a while and he had to get some points like Sergio. But generally speaking, Scott only plays high-end events. He only plays when he wants to play because, well, I mean, it's just, you know, it's what you could do when you're at the top of your game to some degree. So I like him for this FedEx Cup run. I think this is the type of golf that keeps him interested and keeps him engaged. We've seen the Decky train kind of start to get rolling a little bit. You know, I don't know if Decky deals with maybe more injuries low key than some other golfers because of his exceptionally like long and forceful backswing, follow through, pause situation. But it seems like to me that he probably ends up dealing with like some more nagging injuries than some other golfers, because his play, like his stats just look like that to me. And I think that we're seeing here recently towards the end of the season, a healthy focus to Decky that I think will give himself some opportunities this week to maybe mitigate bad putting. It is POA, it is bumpy, right? Like Decky hates all putting surfaces. So I don't know. I just $8,800 for a guy that used to be up there in between like the Brooks and the Justin Roses, you know, not that long ago, seems like an incredible value to me as he starts to turn the corner for some form. So yeah, I think that's where I'll be staking my two flags in the 9K or 8K range at the top. I do like 2 players at the bottom, but I know that hashtag brand plays coming in hot, folks.
Oh man, it's just a beautiful thing. I couldn't be more happy this week with just the way that all my guys are fitting in price wise is just it's a beautiful thing. But I agree with you on on Hideki for sure. He's like, what was it? I guess like kind of the wraparound season heading into last year and sort of into the early part of the year. He had like what, four or five wins or something ridiculous, like just straight like top threes. Like he was just out of control. And like that guy's still there somewhere, right? Like if he's just remotely neutral with his putter, even he could probably even lose strokes a lot of weeks with his putter and still, lose like a half a stroke or a stroke with his putter and still compete. He was number 2 in the world at one point, and it wasn't that long ago. So 8,800 is one of those like don't overthink it prices, I think, for him. Obviously, I'm going to be sort of heavily exposed with Cantlay and Finau here. I've been saying it all year. I've had over 50% of Finau probably since, I don't know, like the Genesis maybe, and it hasn't really hurt me yet. It's been maybe 3 weeks where he's been like outside of the top 25, maybe 4 weeks where he's been outside of the top 25 in that stretch. So I will continue just hammering him for obvious reasons. And just real quick, you mentioned his name before. Just how nice is it that Sergio Garcia isn't in the FedEx Cup playoffs?
Bro,
isn't it great?
Dude, he missed it by what, like 2 points or something?
He was 128th.
Wow.
Just it's a beautiful thing. I just can't deal with that guy. Yeah, I mean, that's probably where my ownership is going to be concentrated. And I don't think it's like a bias thing. Like, I think they're objectively good plays, and I'm just going to be like, my bias is going to make me extremely overweight, where like you probably should try to be overweight even if you don't really like them that much. What do you think about Reed here?
I actually really like Reed, and the reasons that I like him kind of center around the putting and the short game aspects. His approach game's obviously on, and I mean, when he gets aggressive with his approach game from the fairway, I mean, it's impressive to watch, dude. That guy's just gunning at everything, and you get the look, right? This is, again, Reed's a big game hunter. This is big game season, right? The FedEx Cup playoff winner gets $10 million. It's not like chump change. This is serious business for these guys, and
I take it.
Yeah, Reed is the kind of guy Reed's the guy that gets up for that, for sure. I don't know how great of an overall course fit he is, because like he's not the most steady driver of the golf ball, and he relies heavily on one type of shot off of the tee with that that right to left sort of sweeping draw that he plays. I don't know how that plays on some of these dog legs, but ultimately I think Patrick Reed is having the type of year that on a golf course where he does not need to try really hard to compete with length compared to some of these other guys. I think that he can navigate and position his way around this golf course, rely on that like aggressive approach game and his way above average putter, and find himself squarely in the mix for 8,400. I like Reed. I'll have some shares of him. He'll probably go under owned as well, because I think guys are going to skip this range in general because of the type of builds that they're going to be doing.
Right.
So I'm going to be on Reed. Casey's the guy that I actually am going to go. I'm going to go right back to him, dude. After he screwed me at the PGA, he was my second most owned golfer. Just wiped out my week. I'm going to go right back to him, be super overweight on him again. I'll probably have 25, 35, 40%. Depending on where he is. Like right now, I think he's projected at like 10 or 12% ownership. I'll be at least double the field on Paul Casey. Paul has played events in this part of the country very well. He has played this course very well. He fits in all my models. Everything I look at, Paul Casey, should have a good go of it this week. Again, I'm not going to read too much into Bellerive and and just a bad PGA. Who knows? Maybe a bad shellfish or something. I don't know. One event, I guess, isn't going to take me away from a super consistent ball striker.
Yeah.
The other guy, dude, give me the Bubba take. Why is Bubba $8,000 in this field, winning 3 times this year on a course that's comparable to Riviera, where he just owns, plays well in this part of the country? I don't think the course is a great fit for him, but like $8,000 for Bubba Watson. I mean, come on.
It's disrespectful. That's what it is.
I don't know, man. Like, it almost feels like you have to play some Bubba. I like Casey at 8,300, but there's in no world should, at least not this year, should Bubba be less than Paul Casey. Like, Bubba has 3 wins. Paul Casey's got 1. So,
yeah, I mean, I objectively agree with you, but I just these like weird sort of like it's not in heavy rotation. It's not a course he's familiar with. Puts me a little bit off of him. I agree that the price is pretty wild considering. I mean, I don't even know what his odds are, but just based on what we've seen from him this year, regardless of what Vegas is saying or whatever else, I would imagine his odds are pretty long since he's down in this range. But I don't know. I would imagine he's going to be pretty low owned, like definitely like, the like 5 to 8 range ish.
Well, he's missed 3 of his last 4 cuts. So
right. So, but he's the GPP person, right? Like if he's he can miss a cut and then win like he did, he missed the cut at the US Open and came back and won the Travelers. Like that's who he is. And that's what makes him super tilting for me. But also if you play him in good spots, you're probably going to end up making money on him. So if you think this is a comparable course to a place like Riviera, then I don't see how you could not at least throw a dart at him in a lineup.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know, man. It's hard for me to overlook a guy that's won 3 times this year.
Right.
You're probably less than 5% owned.
Makes sense.
I don't know. Actually, the guys right around him, though, dude, Noren and Hatton are both positive polo putters. Noren almost won.
I hate Hatton so much.
Yeah, stupid, ugly.
Just
not playing.
Just the most punchable face.
Despite his on-course persona, I think Hatton's a great Twitter follow.
He is. I see the tweets that, like, I don't follow him, but you know how Twitter has that feature that it's like you see tweets that other people like.
Yeah.
The 2% of the time when it's good, it's one of you two liking a Tyrell Hatton tweet or something like that.
Oh yeah,
we know that Matt doesn't like him anymore. Matt replies with mean things to him.
No,
mean things.
I'm not that guy.
Is he gonna be on Jimmy Kimmel now? Reading Matt's mean tweets?
No, Matt doesn't do it. No, I just know Matt wouldn't be tweeting at him. Not a fan.
No,
that's true. I'll give you that.
No, I think I don't know how like chalky or how owned either one of those guys get, but just simply based on the fact that they're both pretty strong polo putters. Hatton's coming off a pretty strong performance at the PGA as well. He might get a little more buzz as the week rolls on. But Noren, I think, is super interesting, just like in terms of a talented player that putts well on this particular surface that probably goes overlooked, especially when you've got, like, I don't know, there's probably 4 or 5 guys right below this little $7,800 range that everyone's going to like gravitate to.
Yeah.
So
do you think that they're part of this? Like, I think golf, the fantasy golf community in general, is an interesting place to sort of exist because there are some guys who, like, the whole community is on and loves them and they screw over everybody a couple times and everyone gets off of them forever. And then there are some guys that everybody loves and they just keep getting screwed by him and they still continue to hope that he's a thing. I feel like Hatton is the latter in that scenario. Like he's screwed people as the chalky option in many, many places, at least on the PGA Tour. I'm sure, like I don't play Euro. He's obviously a talented golfer and whatever else. Like he's had good finishes or else he wouldn't still be around. But I just find it interesting that people are like continuously want him to be a thing. when he's come up pretty short in like some big spots for people before. I just find it interesting that
that's an excellent point.
People don't get
excellent
off.
Point. And you know what? Like now that you say that, and I just mentioned his PGA, like I bet his ownership like approaches 10% this week.
Yep.
And I might just not be on that 10% at all.
Yeah.
Just not now that you've said that, and like, because it sets up really well for like a Hatton bomb for sure. Like,
right.
People notice him. People like, okay, he lines up. He's got the putter. He's got the good performances back to back, blah, blah, blah. Come out here and give you the big finger.
Right. He's 10% owned in cash and 12.5% owned in GPPs at the Open, and he comes in 51st. Then he's like under 5% owned in every contest at the PGA, and he has a top 10. Like,
yeah.
that's not the way to endear yourself to the DFS community.
For sure. I guess moving down, what do you think about the three guys right above your boy, Leishman, Schauffele, and Usti? All, I think, merit some consideration this week, and all going to be way underowned.
Yeah, I agree. I think they are going to go very underowned.
My screen blank for a bit. Who are we on right now?
Leishman, Schauffele, and Usti. Just your general thought or interest, because they're all going to go way underowned because of the guys.
I'm still pissed at Louis.
Okay, so
I'm not pissed at him, but like, because I understand it.
He screwed me, dude. I had Louis in like 20% of lineups at the PGA.
Yeah, no, I think I died that day, that Thursday. Like, thank God that course was on a cemetery, because it was fitting.
So this course is on a cemetery too, right?
This too.
Yeah. So fun cemetery notes for this golf course. It used to be the 7th. I think it's the 9th. Could be the 10th this year. No, it's not the 9th because maybe it's the 12th. I think that's the 12th this year. It's the cemetery hole, and Kevin Streelman's grandparents are buried in this cemetery.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
What a freaking narrative!
Yeah. So
we have a grave narrative going this week. We need to just.
I don't even know. Like,
who cares about the 7K and 6K range anymore? Let's just end on that.
Kevin Streelman narrative is alive and well.
I'm trying to remember where I read it. I'm pretty sure it was Josh Culp's site at Future of Fantasy where I read that. But he grew up in the area. I guess his parents are like from right around this golf course, and his grandparents like lived like, their whole lives like right around here, and they are buried in that cemetery. And unfortunately, if you put your ball in the cemetery, I did find out it's out of bounds. Yeah. So I guess Streelman, the other thing I looked up his history here, and I think he has like 2 really solid results in like 125th or something like that. So like, even though he doesn't have any form right now, Streelman could be one of those interesting narrative flyers. Just, got to perform well for the fam. But yeah, so crazy. So just, this course is probably cursed too, since there is a cemetery on it. Interesting note. The last time we played a A.W. Tillinghast designed course, it was Baltusrol, and Baltusrol also has a cemetery on that course. What's up with Tillinghast and these freaking cemetery courses, man?
He's a sick guy.
Maybe. Anyway, Streelman's grandparents buried 12th hole.
There you go.
I thought it was the 7th.
No, it's old 7th. They've been rerouted, so I believe it's the 12th this year.
Yeah. So all of that being said, I am going to have all of the Woodland and all of the Sink and some of the Horschel, and I might even have a sprinkle of Kisner. I haven't decided yet.
Okay. So, but you're not going to get involved in any shares of the Leishman, Schauffele, or Usti?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes sense, especially in GPPs, to sort of pivot off of what I think is going to be a little bit more chalk with Gary and Poulter's right there. So I do think that makes a lot of sense. I don't see their ownership getting terribly high. I think Leishman will probably be more owned than we think, but I do think Xander and Louis can be had at a little bit of a discount. So.
The guy I like there the best is Xander. I think he's a positive putter and definitely has shown at the bigger events this year. And I think this whole FedEx Cup qualifies for a guy like Xander. I think he won East Lake last year, if I'm not mistaken, right? So Yeah, I think Xander is an excellent GPP play here at 7,800 and makes for a fine pivot off of the chalky Woodland, the chalky Nah. I think Poulter could even get chalky this week, and he's the next guy I want to talk about. Ian Poulter does need to officially earn his Ryder Cup spot. He's going to get the captain's pick, in my opinion, but I think he wants it. I think he wants to just walk onto the team and like, just like Phil, like he doesn't want to get picked. He wants to know he earned it.
Right. Leave no doubt.
And Poulter, dude, he's just been on one, right? The guy has just been playing great. And when you look at like the types of players that had success here, you know, when I looked at the leaderboards and I was doing my course preview video, right, I didn't bring him up, but like he's the guy that kept popping into my mind when I was reading Hunter Mahan and like reading down the list of these short knocker hitters that manage the course well and find themselves near the top of the leaderboard. Like I was thinking about Poulter when I was doing that, and I can't quite get that out of my head. I don't know. I actually haven't even looked to see how good of a POA putter he is. He's probably an awful POA putter. He's terrible on POA.
Yeah.
But
you're bad.
But I guess I'm going to look past that a little bit and just I think Poulter has the motivation, and you know, he's not going to win, but could he find himself in the mix for a top 10, top 15? I think so. This week, guys, just super motivated to get it done. So, and I'm definitely on your boy Sink. I brought him up in some of his course comments. The guy I'm not on is Ryan Moore here this week that I think other people are going to be on. Mm-hmm. I know he's a good POA putter, and he played well at the Wyndham and everything, and he's been playing well, but I'm just not sold, I guess. And it's just there's no good reason for it because like a lot of things point to play him, but I don't know. What do you have any of a take on that yet?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be too exposed in this range with the other guys that we already spoke about, and he didn't really. Ryan Moore never really does much for me to begin with. Like he's not one of those guys that I feel like he's probably been in like 6 tournaments this year where I didn't even realize he was playing, sort of thing. Like he's just not.
He definitely is the textbook definition of a guy that falls under the radar.
Right. Like he's just not a name that really registers with me for, you know, again, for good or bad. It's just one of those things. But I'm just gonna have way too much Sink, and I'm just going to go there and just deal with whatever ownership they end up getting between Woodland, Poulter, and Sink. I'll just deal.
Okay.
How about Bryson down here at 74?
Sure.
That seemed a little cheap.
Yeah. Yeah. For a guy that I think probably fits this course well.
Yeah. No, a tad bit inaccurate, but that's nothing, right? Like he has everything else to succeed here.
Yeah, for sure. I think Bryson's fine. I don't know if I'm going to be playing him. I'm not going to fault anybody for playing him. My big question mark in the bottom of this $3,000 or $7,000 range is Phil Mickelson, right? Like somebody give me their Phil take. Hit me $7,300 Phil. First of all,
I'm a fan.
When was Phil ever $7,300? Matt, maybe you have that in your fancy metrics.
Yeah, I can pull it up. And
has he ever been this cheap?
I don't think so. So, like, I don't think a lot of people are going to go to Phil this week. I don't really know why, but Phil is an exceptional POA putter. Phil loves playing in New York, and everybody. And I like the classic case against Phil is he can't hit a fairway. Right. Well, we spent the whole time talking about, you know, you can club down here. Like we don't expect Gary to hit drivers all over the place. We expect a lot of people to club down. If Phil starts clubbing down, he's not going to be missing fairways left and right and crazy. He's still one of the best scramblers and putters out there.
Yeah, like exactly.
At $7,300, like I'm not sure you can go wrong by playing Phil Mickelson.
Yeah, what does he need to do? Like
nothing. Like he needs to show up and breathe.
Yeah, he hardly needs to do much for you to win a GPP with him in your life.
I'm really stunned that I haven't heard a whole bunch of Phil takes, or like I haven't heard anybody bitching about his pricing, like or saying like Phil is free. Maybe I'm off, and maybe I'm totally wrong, and that happens all the time because let's face it, I'm still doing this in poor, and I haven't won a Millie Maker, so the chances that I'm wrong are high, but Phil is in the same boat as Ian Poulter, grinding for that spot. Now, Phil might already be in. Actually, I think Phil is already in, but he still wants that spot in there. There's no reason why he's not going to show up and play in one of his favorite states to play in, right? And give the crowd a show. Phil always gives the crowd a show. In fact, I think this is the place that Phil had to hit out of the concession stand. Like, if I'm not mistaken,
on tour.
no, but I'm pretty sure this is like the one that made that famous, where you like had to move a table and he hit off of the like patio deck.
Yeah.
So $7,300 for a guy that plays well on Pawa, loves the area. Like, I don't know. I feel like that it's almost a lock button.
Yeah, you want me to tell you the names of the people who graded out better than him in my course fit model? DJ,
None.
Brooks, JT, Rose, Finau.
Really?
That's it.
He's 6th. Yep.
Wow. I mean, he's not. So here's the thing. Phil doesn't rate out like really well in any of the things I'm looking at. Like, he really doesn't. He doesn't show up in the top 20 of anything. So it's encouraging to hear for you, but like, that makes me even want to play him more. Because like, I liked him when it was just like, me just talking through it, and like, there's nothing in my models or stats to say, play him. But I like hearing that, man.
Yep.
I'll be playing quite a bit of Phil at 7,300.
Makes sense.
Especially if you stay like right now. I'm not looking at fan share, but I bet he's not projected to be more than like 8% owned.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. I wouldn't think so. I think sort of maybe Sink soaks up a little bit more ownership. You have Bryson right there too. Like, this could be a pretty flat range from sort of like, once you get to from like Nah to, I guess, Kisner, I think is probably going to be pretty flat, close to like 5%, would be my guess.
You think Nah and Poulter are going to be 5% and more?
No, once you get past Nah.
Oh, so Poulter more Sink.
So more Grace, Sink on DeChambeau, Horschel, Phil, Stanley, Kisner. I don't think that any of those guys go crazy, right? I think it probably gets spread out.
I bet more and Sink get comfortably over 10.
Really?
Yeah.
More?
Yeah.
More sucks. I hate him.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. That's why I like went out of my way to say like I'm avoiding him, because he shows up, and I think a lot of people are gonna say $7,500. These things, okay.
He's like the trap cheap play of the week.
Well, I don't know if he's a trap, but I'm going to be avoiding him.
His stats. I mean, the stats look good, kind of. Right.
Yeah.
Speaking of traps, Emiliano Grillo is at $7,000 for the 8 millionth time this season.
Yeah.
This seems like he would fit here, no? I mean,
it does. If I'm not mistaken, I think he put a top 5 up at one of the New York courses last year. Maybe it was this event. Oh, it was. 2016. He put up a 2nd at the Northern Trust, which I don't know the course that year, but all the courses in this area are fairly similar. They're all fairly classical designs. Need to keep it in the fairway, long, rough, tree-lined, bent POA mixed greens. So, if you can perform well on one, actually 2016, if I'm not mistaken, was Bethpage. Don't hold me to that, audience, but I think it was Bethpage. If you can put a 2nd together at Bethpage, that's pretty impressive. It's also a Tillinghast design, by the way.
Yeah, it was Bethpage. Just looked it up.
Oh, man, memory's better than I thought it was. Yeah, he's not a good POA putter, but I don't know. He did get his putter hot the last 3 or 4 events out, been putting well, and had a positive strokes gained approach last event. I don't know. I don't think he gets super popular. I'll probably have some shares of him because he could absolutely, put another strong performance up there. But I don't know. I get the impression you're not on him.
No, I think that this is like the typical like letdown spot for him. Like, it just seems like he does poorly whenever I really think that he's a good fit. So maybe I just don't understand how he plays, but I'm going through like GPP winning lineups recently, and like he's in all over the place because he's always so damn cheap. Like you can fit in so much with him. And I mean, as much as like he can disappoint here and there, I think he's a pretty safe bet to make this cut. And at 7K exactly, I don't know that you really need a hell of a lot more from him than that. Like, I don't know. I guess we'll see. He's a bit of an enigma to me most weeks. So
here's an enigma play for you. Jimmie Walker.
Never in my lifetime.
Never in your lifetime. Okay. That's one down.
He always just pisses me off. Like he never makes the cut when he's like this great play. I just never get him right.
Fair enough.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna. I would rather play I'd rather play List here. Like I'd rather play CH3 here. Like there's other guys that I would rather play. So I probably won't have much of him whatsoever. But
so the last guy to win at a Tillinghast design course, Jimmie Walker, Baltusrol.
So now he's just gonna shit on my face, and is that what this is?
Jesus.
Is that what Jimmie Walker's gonna do now?
Well, I mean, if I take 15% of him, I definitely hope that he wins, and if that involves shitting on your face, then so be it. But Jimmie Walker has gained more strokes on Poa surfaces than any other player in this field in his entire career. In the last two events, he turned his strokes gained approach back towards positive, and we know how well he was playing earlier in the year. This is a big event. For these guys, Jimmie, I think Jimmie has the ability to show up and put a really strong performance out there this week. And at one, like, dude, if the guy is more than 2% owned, I'll be shocked. Like, you don't need to take much of him to have massively overweight on Jimmie Walker. But when you talk about the best Poa putter in the field for the entire career, he's gained 37 strokes, like on Poa surfaces. It's incredible. And he's starting to turn his iron game back around. Yeah, I'll take a couple of lineups with Jimmie Walker for GPPs where nobody else will. So that's just a couple of little nuggets there for you.
Yeah. Outside of sort of, I guess if like as we keep going down, I'll probably have some Dahmen, but I don't really think I'm gonna have anybody in the 6K range. Not to say that there aren't like decent plays down there.
There are.
But I just I don't see myself ending up on a ton of builds that require me to go that low. So I'm probably just going to avoid it in general. Like I don't really see myself going past like probably List. Maybe I'll have a couple shares of Tway. But other than that, I don't know.
I mean, I have a few names to throw out here in the 6K range if you really want to discuss them.
There you go.
So earlier in the show, I said Chris Kirk was going to be someone that I include in Stars and Scrubs builds. Right. So we can discuss all these names in a second. And then, I don't know why, but Andrew Putman is 10th in my mixed blend here.
Are you weighted heavily in par 4 scoring?
I'm weighting. I weighed everything at 20%. So I did 5 things at 20% weight. So again, take everything with a grain of salt.
Well, just Putnam always shows up on par 4 scoring for me.
Yeah. And then Hadwin 6,300. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Hadwin showed up for me. He's a strong Poa putter. That's the reason he's popping up in a couple of the things I'm looking at. Hadwin theoretically has that plotters type of game that I think can go well here. His current form is like it's in the gutter right now. But again, a lot of that I feel like, especially when you get to this time of year, you kind of look for another gear. Guys are getting super aggressive. It's it's like one and done. They get the eliminations going. Like you kind of give it all. You just put it all out there, and maybe the guys go they kind of go off the rails and have a really bad round. But some of those guys are going to take that and turn it into some really strong performances. And I think Hadwin is one of those guys that can kind of let it all go out there. And we've seen like the upside of Hadwin that if he just gets a little bit of swagger one week, boom, he could put together a top 10 on this course or a top 15. just because I think the course fits what he does well. When he's on, his approaches are the strongest part of his game. He's not going to be missing many fairways, and he's just an elite putter. Well, hasn't been an elite putter this year, but historically. So, I think on the surface, a lot of things fit for Hadwin, but it's just a total GPP dart because there's nothing to suggest that his form will come around at all. The last time he had a better than 20th performance was at the Wells Fargo. Go figure. Of course, that doesn't fit what he does well at all. But he did put like almost three back-to-back top 10 performances together around the Valspar and Genesis. And he does putt well on POA. He put together the last two POA courses. We played the Genesis in Mexico, WGC. He had a 6th and a 9th. So
very nice, by the way.
So, yeah, nice. It took me a second.
Yeah,
so I might have a share or two of Hadwin down there. Bryce Garnett. That was an impressive performance by him last week. Doubt I'll have any exposure, but good on him to put together a 20th last week. I don't think I'm going to be all the way down here in this range. Putnam is actually kind of interesting to me. He doesn't pop up for me, but the guy does play well on like the par 4 heavy courses, and he plays. I don't know. It's sort of like one of those things. Like if he shows up, he could put up a top 10, but if he doesn't, man, it's gonna be bad. Which it just goes with the variance of any of these golfers down here. But I do like the upside of Putnam for his price tag. I will have no Joel Dahman as much as I like my guy. I think the stats are like way skewed here. I don't like when I opened up the simulator on Fantasy National and I saw where he was ranked, and I'm like, nope. Sample size, that's the problem. Dahman's been playing. He hasn't been playing the same events as the rest of these guys. He's been playing the satellite events, the Barbasols, and stuff like that. I mean, he's got performances together, but like the John Deere, the Greenbrier, the RBC Canadian Open was not the FedEx Cup. So I don't know. And that's 4 weeks in a row. This is, I think he took a week off. I don't know. There's just some warning signs for me for Dahman that I just don't know if he's as good of a golfer as he showed in some weaker field events to come in here and put up the type of performance that people are going to expect at what I think will probably be the most chalky guy down here under $7,000. I think I'll just be off of him for that reason. And pick anybody else down here because I don't think I can. What was your stat, Matt, on how good we are for picking golfers to be successful under 7,000? How many percentage of the times did it work out?
Well, I mean, it does depend on what the ownership is. Like if it's super chalk, we're actually pretty good at it. Okay. I'm trying to pull it back up now. If you give me a sec, I can.
I'll fill some airspace. But anyway, my rationale is just that I think he's going to be the most popular person under $7,000. And just since I'll be trying to take down a GPP, I will bank on the variance and just not have any of him to just avoid that ownership. So that's sort of my take on Joel Dahman. As much as I do like him, and I do think that he has a strong like second tier game, I'm just not sure that he is what we need to take down GPP here.
Quick side note: my Twitter account may die soon because I just called Tim Anderson a millennial.
Tim Anderson is a millennial.
He is, but I just called him a millennial on Twitter. So if I'm dead,
okay,
remember me.
But the guy I wrote up and the guy that I am most intrigued at, for the sub $7,000 guys is Charlie Hoffman. Playing some strong golf, tapered off a bit as he, kind of got to the end of like a 5-week stretch and with the two majors there. Took a week off, should be refreshed. I think Charlie plays well in the bigger events. Charlie plays well in stronger fields. Charlie can keep it in the fairway, has a good approach. He's got a good all-around game. I think he's a value at $6,800. That'll probably be the guy that I go to. Austin Cook apparently has baby swag. For those that did not see on Twitter, he's having a girl. They did one of those reveal things with the dogs and the whole thing. So baby swag for Austin Cook. Good for him. I don't know, man. Because I don't know. Before I open my mouth, let me click on this person's name. and see if I really want to say what I'm going to say. Never mind. Not going to say what I was going to say.
Well, no, I'm very curious of what these words were.
Yeah, I'm not going to say them, so it doesn't matter.
Well, now you're just teasing.
Once we have somewhere in the 8 to 15 range in ownership for 6K golfers, they end up in the top 30 of DraftKings points a little bit over 40% of the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so I misremembered the statistic you said to me. Maybe I should have some shares of Dahmen then. I don't know.
So, alluding back to the discussion we had earlier, Grayson Murray, 6,600.
No.
Okay. How did he make this field?
That's a really great question.
That's
an excellent question.
I want to see what he's done this year. I'm going to click on the fantasy matchup.
He's outside of the top 100. He's like 115 right now.
Yeah.
I don't understand how. Like how he is only a few spots below like HV3 with the run that he went on. Like it's just a very strange system.
Okay. I can kind of see it. So we have 9th at the Safeway, 14th at Career Builder, 8th at the AT&T Pro-Am, 14th at the Arnie, 14th at Shell, 16th at Valero, 30th at the Players. That's it.
Yeah.
And then
so just I'm
nothing since May.
I'm looking at the same thing you are, right? So I'm looking at the event list, and the thing I noticed in all of his performances that you just rattled off that were top 20s or better, in every single one of those, he gained actually not at the AT&T Pro-Am, but at the other 3, he gained all of his strokes off of the tee.
Yeah.
Sucked on approaches, sucked with his putter. This is not an off the tee course, in my opinion, so I'll have 0 Grayson.
Yeah.
Just thought I'd throw the name out there.
Also, he's stupid, and I don't like him. I'm just kidding.
See, here's the thing, though. That's fine. That's fine.
I just had to throw that in there to irritate you.
Can't take it back. He said it.
That's fine as long as you put in, the analysis that you put in there.
Yeah. No, it's not the course for him.
No. All right. Let's this is the longest show of all time.
Is it really?
We're approaching an hour 20 now.
Wow.
Awesome.
I did not notice that.
Okay. Let's get a quick pick to win, and then let's get out of here.
Yeah.
And you got to have
Justin Rose. I'll go ahead.
Good pick. How about you, Matt?
No salary constraints.
I don't care.
Do whatever you want.
Cool. All right. Well, I will go. You know what? I'm gonna go Rahm.
Oh man, that was where I was going. That was it's gonna be my guy. Wow. Now that you've taken Rahm, I feel
there's 123 other golfers here,
but they're all not Rahm, unfortunately.
It's true.
We can establish this fact.
I really do like Rahm specifically to win this week.
Yeah,
that's fine. We can both go against that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just gonna roll. I'm gonna stick with it. That's the guy I want to roll with too. So I'm gonna go Rahm. If I was forced to pick another person, I would say Day.
Nice. I like it.
He fits here. Good punting. All right, that'll be it for us. This has been the Bogey Free Podcast for the Northern Trust. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and YouTube. And, of course, if we're not winning all the money, we hope you guys do. So good luck in your contest this week.
See ya.
Peace.